Welcome to the Planet Paintball Podcast, the ultimate podcast for paintball enthusiasts. Each week, we dive into the world of paintball, bringing you stories, insights, and tips from players, coaches, and industry insiders. Sponsored by 1023 Sportswear. Looking for high-quality gear that performs as hard as you do? Check out 1023 Sportswear. And as a listener of the Planet Paintball Podcast, you can get 20% off your order with the code PLANETPaintball. Suit up, save big, and play your best.
Welcome back to the Planet Paintball Podcast, brought to you by 1023 Sportswear. Use code Planet Paintball for 20% off. And Southwest Paintball in Bayfield, Colorado. The Matrix Rest Distortion guys. Oh my gosh, butchered that one. Sorry, G-Way. And the Green Goat Factory, your old man rub for those long days of paintball. It's going to make you feel good as new. I got Martin from Postal with me. I've been hunting you guys down for a hot minute now, so I'm glad we finally were able to do it. How you doing today, man?
Man, living the dream. First, absolute big fan of the podcast. Thank you for everything that you're doing on your end. Going back, listen to some of the other ones, I was like, man, I think we play against those guys in NGXL. And it was like, yeah, we need to talk about Postal getting on here. I was like, you know what? Fine. Let's do it. Let's get out of my comfort zone, because this is definitely not something I'm used to doing.
Yeah, sometimes I gotta apply the peer pressure. Oh,
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
you coming on, though. Postal's been around for a long time. I remember you guys in the CFOA way back in the day. Let's start with you, though. How'd you find paintball, man?
Three parts, actually. So first went out, I was probably 10 to 12 years old. Went out with a church group, and I don't remember anything from the day of playing other than as I was walking off the field. I guess they had the chrono station set up right there, and I wasn't paying attention where I was walking. The guy chronoing his gun wasn't paying attention, and he shot me right in the arm from probably about 10 feet away, right? That's all I remember. And I just remember thinking to myself, yeah, that hurts. I never want to do that again. So then people started talking about going to play speedball, and I thought that was a terrible idea. Why would anyone want to get on a very small course and shoot each other, really close? I was like, I'm not going to do that. So fast forward, went and played speedball for the first time with a bunch of my band guys, because I was in the band. Yes, I'm a band geek, and had a terrible time. Had a terrible time playing. We just absolutely got, massacred by the tournament guys that were there. And I was like, this is not for me at all. And then shout out to my cousin, Josh. He later on for his 16th birthday was like, hey, look, we're going to go play paintball, and we're going to go play in the woods, and you're going. I was like, no, I'm good. He goes, no, you're going. I was like, okay, fine. So went and had an absolute blast, man. I had we just absolutely with all the boys up there, we were just playing and just had an incredible time playing paintball. And from there, just kind of started. My grandparents caught wind that I enjoyed playing, and they bought me my first gun, which was a Spider Sonics.
Nice.
And I thought I was a little badass showing up to the field, because I didn't know anything different. And come to find out, there's a lot of better guns out there at the time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what started it. Once we found the local field here called Downrange Paintball, I was there every weekend. Every weekend I didn't have to work.
Okay. Nice. So when did it transform into tournaments for you?
Kind of started pretty much within about a year playing there. I never played airball until probably about 5 years into playing paintball. When we first started, it was me and a bunch of guys that I went to high school with, some of the best friends that I have today. We started playing, and my first tournament gun was a Bushmaster B2K. And yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. And what was so funny about it is that we didn't know the difference between, ass and a hole in the ground, man. We didn't know what was going on. We just knew, hey, I'm going to run over here, you run over there. And that's pretty much how we played paintball. And we didn't really do too well in a lot of the tournaments we first started playing. And that's kind of how I got into the tournament aspect of it. Never really been a part of an overall program until I joined the Postal program, really about 4 to 5 years ago.
Okay. So how did that come about, joining
So,
them?
yeah, so Ronnie McCarty, he's the guy that's started the Postal program years and years ago. He'd been kind of, running everything, doing the tournament aspect of it. But the problem we had is that after the economy kind of crashed, we didn't have a good place to play in this area, in the Upper East Tennessee area. And what I mean by a good place to play is that we didn't have a place to go that was a full-size regulation X-ball field. We've always had places like the Alternative Sport to go and play, but they're primarily more focused on the rec side, not necessarily the tournament aspect. So he approached me because he knew that I had some land, and he was like, "Hey, man, let's put a tournament. Let's put a practice field in your backyard." And I was like, "Okay." Because I think that's everybody's dream, right? Is to have a
Yeah.
paintball field in their backyard. Well, now I have one. And so he went out and he bought all the bunkers, the netting, air system, stuff like that, and we got everything going, and we kind of started it from there.
So now it's still in your backyard, your practice facility?
It is, yeah. Well,
Nice.
it's on the back end of the property. I've got 35 acres here, and it's pretty much on the very back end. That way, the family can hear us back there whenever we're going absolutely nuts during, in a layout weekend or just a normal practice.
So is it do you guys keep it just to the Postal guys, or do you have other teams that come out?
We do have other teams now. Before it was mainly just the Postal guys, and simply because it was just I wanted to make sure I knew who was coming out. But I've finally started transitioning into turning it into a business simply because prior to insurance was a problem. And if I made money, it wouldn't be covered under my homeowner's insurance.
Okay.
So if I didn't charge anyone to come out and play and I didn't make money, then in theory, anybody that came out was a guest and it would be covered under our homeowners policy. But nonetheless, we've been growing here lately. More and more people starting to come out. So I've actually transitioned into a business and I actually have legitimate insurance now.
Okay, nice. And like Tennessee's kind of hard up for fields in general. Early on, I had the boys from the university, and they were talking about how scarce it is. Why do you think that is? You think it's just a hit from the '08 crash, or
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, prior to that, we had, I think within a 50-mile radius of just my house, we had 4 fields within just this area. And I think after that crash, it was really only Wes at the Alternative Sport that was able to really endure the entire economy doing what it did. And I think also some other, some kids kind of grew out of it too, because I think it's one of the things that happened is that like there was a place called Old Town Paintball. The owner of it, his kid was really into tournament and he just was like, okay, I'm just going to create a field. And that's what they ended up doing. But I think they kind of grew out of it. And I think that's the reason why we haven't really been seeing a lot of teams coming out of this area is just because I don't think a lot of people in this area know that there is a thing called tournament paintball. And, that's what we're trying to bring back because
yeah?
I don't know if you have heard of it, but there used to be a tournament series, a 5-man tournament series that ran for a couple of years called the Smacks Tournament Series. PTS is what it was called.
Okay.
And we would have 20, 25 teams just from this area come out to it. It was granted, yeah, it was 5 men. It wasn't X ball, but it was 5 men. Now, I mean, 2 years ago, it was hard for us to get 7 dudes to go out and play X ball, much less to try to get, 25 teams to come out for a 5-man event.
Yeah. Yeah. That's having a local series is vital to the health of the community for sure. So otherwise, people just get tired of it. The organization travels a lot. They traveled back in the day to the CFOAs. How far is it for you guys to go to NGXL?
NGXL is right at 5 hours for us.
Okay.
Yeah. It's something I've laughed at, and this is no hate to any of the guys that's been on here before. I heard people talk about, they don't want to travel 2.5 hours to an event, and I'm just like, bro, like the furthest I've traveled thus far is I went to we played Cleveland, the first NXL event they ever had, and it was 8-hour drive for us, and I'm just like, I'd do it again. But I guess that's just the difference too, because that's what we grew up with. That's what we, if we were going to go play CFOA from back in the day, or if we were going to play anything, we knew that we were going to have to drive because again, there really wasn't anything in this area that we would be able to go play.
All right. So how big is Postal these days?
So I guess go back like a year. Last year we had one line, which was a D4 line. We would have consistently probably anywhere from 10 to 12 guys out of practice. Going later on into the year, though, COVID kind of hit a bunch of people, and we had some people with some live situations come up, and we weren't able to finish out the year. But going into this season, we've had a couple of guys join the team that really wanted to not only necessarily just join the D4 line, but also kind of start their own. And that's a guy named Jam and Pat. And they've started their own D5 line pretty well. And we still within the Postal organization, but this their own, the D5 group. And we consistently have anywhere from 20 to 25 dudes out on practice days now.
Yeah.
Well, and having a big organization attracts other players, so it's a smart move. And especially if you let each team be kind of their own thing, as long as obviously there's got to be like a clear cut decision on like what's going to be acceptable for a team as far as attitude and all that good jazz. But as long as all that's aligned, if you're a D5 team and you want a better deal on anything, attach yourself to a D4 team in the same way, right? Like a lot of these teams, Bear Ridge is a good example. They have a ton of teams under them and they all facilitate as their own single team rather than being led by one guy at the top.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, like prior to this, this is really the first time we've had kind of an organization aspect. So we've been learning a lot on our end, especially from a communication standpoint between the two lines, because, our D4 team, we've been playing together 5, 10, if not longer years now. And most of the D5 guys, like when they played their first event this season was the first tournament they ever played. So they don't necessarily know each other, kind of like how the D4 team does. But ultimately, being able to find that the ability to be able to be cohesive and work together at tournament, I mean, at events, and then also at practice is huge for us. And we're still learning that. There's still some growing pains we're kind of trying to work through with that. Is it perfect? No. But what is perfect in the world of paintball, right? I don't think there is anything perfect.
Well, I think you even see it in other team sports where like we think it's just a paintball thing. It's really not. It's every team, regardless of what kind of sport you're doing, has to learn how to communicate outside of like
Absolutely.
collegiate stuff. And not that they don't need to communicate, they absolutely do. But it's a little bit more inherent of a structure when you're looking at a school thing versus something that people do in their free time. So how'd you guys did you buy a compressor for the backyard field, or like
So
did you get one of the little China ones that you
no,
fill up? It takes 20 minutes.
well, I wish we did, because probably would have been a lot cheaper. But no, Ronnie, if anyone here knows Ronnie, he's not one to spare any expense. He went out and I think he Googled Ferrari of compressors and bought that one.
Okay, nice.
But I think one of the big things he wanted is he wanted an electric compressor that would work out of his garage there at his shop. The problem we ran into though is that we would need, to be able to, we could pump air there and then bring all the tanks back to the field, but we pretty much found that that was just not very convenient.
Yeah.
So we worked on getting power back to the very back end of our property. That way he can just pull a trailer in, hook up the compressor, and we were able to get everything going. Like I got this little storage trailer up there now that I've got 6 bulk tanks in. We normally keep those around 4,000 psi, and that way all of our guys are getting decent fills throughout the day.
Okay,
And then
nice.
it's easy for him to pull up, connect up, start up the compressor, pump up to 45 if we need to, and then be good to go. So it's pretty much just a connect and go.
So what does prep look for you guys? Are you going down to Georgia for the prep weekend, or are you staying local, putting up the field and having the other
So
Tennessee guys in?
absolutely. So when the layout drops on that Wednesday, we'll normally hop on to a Zoom call. Normally that is led by our D5 guys. They'll get onto not Zoom, but they'll get onto Discord and kind of go through an overall, field walk from that aspect. We'll get the field put up either Thursday, Friday, or maybe even Saturday morning. And we'll go out, run our break shooting drills on Saturday. We'll do a bunch of like 10-second, 30-second points, even going into possibly up to a full minute point. Just kind of understand on just how the breakouts are going to feel. And then going into Sunday, it's all points. We just kind of just do a lot of experimenting. And it's really just our line, the D4 line versus the D5 line.
Okay.
The problem we run into is that there's not a lot of teams here. I think Knoxville Energized played the last event, and I think that was really the last team other than Postal from this area that's went to NGXL and played. And us trying to reach out to any like the Carolina teams to come in and practice us is just it's not very viable for them because they've got to travel 3+ hours, and it's just
Yeah.
not worth it. And it's definitely not worth it to the the Bear Ridge guys to come up this way because they would have to not go to Bear Ridge.
Yeah. Yeah. When you have the event location in your backyard, it's hard to pull someone off of that for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, which is
And we've been invited
understandable.
down there multiple times, and we've debated about it too. But again, it's looking at the cost aspect of it. Looking to go down, you know, between hotel food and then just actually playing. Granted, it's not extremely expensive to play down there, but it's just not necessarily always worth it for us to go out there and drag 20 dudes down there, drive 5 hours to practice.
Well, and it becomes like not quite the event, but well, it has the potential because you might be playing some more points to cost just as much as the event.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So I get it. When I was on relapse and it's a 3-4 hour drive for us down there, we were kind of in the same boat. Like, do we want to go down and drive and have a 1 day practice or have a 2 day practice up here against ourselves? So we opted for the 2 day practice against ourselves.
Yeah.
So sometimes what
I mean,
just happened?
for what it's
Sorry.
worth, it's a lot of effort to try to put up a team. I mean, put up a field, take down a field, and do all that because I'm not fancy. I don't have a turf field. It's all grass, and unfortunately, we can't just leave the bunkers up 24/7. So they got to come down that way, or
Yeah.
it's just killing the grass, and it's just not a very good playing surface.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. When you got that grass field, you can't leave them out there all week. It's not good for the
Absolutely
bunkers.
not.
It's not good for the grass. Might get away with it for a week or two, but after that,
Two
the
weeks is about the
routes
max you
show,
want to leave it
right?
out there for. But yeah, hundred
Yeah.
percent.
Oh.
Well, that and you'll get
So
the
how
the
keep going?
Well, I'll say, well, that and you'll get just the indention within the grass and just dead grass from where the bunkers were,
Yeah.
and you'll get some really weird looking shapes if you're kind of, picking up what's, especially with how they've been laying out these snake beans here lately.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the critters that choose to make those home really quick.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, that sticking to work keeps wanting to come on into this. But so how often are you guys out there?
So at the beginning of the year, we came together and kind of understood to talk about what our goals were going to be going into this season. And we pretty much tried to come up with a good practice plan a practice agenda for everybody that would be good for us to also make sure that we're hitting our goals and we're meeting our goals. We've identified pretty much that, especially with this last tournament, that we need to be practicing more. So before it was we're practicing 2 weekends before the tournament, and then the full layout weekend, and then the tournament, and then trying to get some random ones thrown out there on the off months.
Okay.
But now I think that we're going to be pretty much out there each weekend going into this next event, just to make sure that we're prepared, because our D4 line is in contention for the series title. I think our D5 line is. I don't know if they're mathematically out of it, but nonetheless, it's one of those things we want to make sure that we're coming into event 5 ready to go.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter how your season is if you win the last one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's always nice if you can take that series title too, but people really remember who won that last one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the math aspect of it for D4. If we finish second, we still win. But at the
Okay.
same time, did we win?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get to go to Cup, for, cheaper, but ultimately, did we actually win? I don't think.
Yeah. So is the plan to go to Cup period or see if you guys get that series prize?
As of now, I think the plan is to go to Cup period
Okay.
because, the problem we're running into going into next season, because we're always looking, at this point, since we have multiple people and a lot of people within the organization, it's going to be what does the future look like for Postal, right? Um, there is no D3 anywhere.
Yeah.
Bear, NGXL, no D3, MSXL. I mean, I think they have 4 or 5 teams. I don't even think they ran D3 the last event. So for our D4 team right now, we're all going to be D3 next season. So I think the plan is to go in play NXL next season.
Okay.
So if we do that, I mean, I think we might as well go ahead and get our feet wet, so to speak, and go play Cup, regardless if how it comes out on this on the final at the NGXL.
Yeah, yeah. That the NXL season is a bear to take on. So kudos to you guys for doing it. But like you said, there's not a ton of options that the MXL might have D3 every now and then. And then other than that, you're either going to Virginia, which is going to be a haul for you guys, or back to Kissimmee, Florida, which is also a haul for you guys. Either way.
Yeah, that honestly is one of the options too, because we know Chance and all those guys from Breakout, and that's what they play. And so we've talked with them about going down and playing the MVPS, I think it's what it's called, and playing that league. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, why not just go ahead and try the NXL, see what happens? Yeah, it's way more expensive, but I mean, if you think about, there's a lot of things that we could also look to save money on for NXL. But the other thing that we don't get back is the time. The time investment to go play those is pretty intense. But ultimately, that's what the boys want to do. That's what we want to do.
Well, it's also an experience, right?
Yeah.
And I've made no shrug about it. I'm a big component of staying local and playing your local regional stuff. But at a certain point, you don't have a choice except a other local league that's probably far away from you or going national. And you can always do what the breakout boys do, which is play the close national ones and then filter in with something else. So.
Or we could just not play for 4 years and be ranked D5 again and be good to
That's
go.
true. You could just keep training, right? And let some of those age dividers hit and come back in
Yeah,
and
we're
wreck
we're
house.
close. The age, we're definitely getting there. It's funny.
I'm getting close too, and I'm like, all right, come on, keep this in D4 as long as I can or open. So, did I see you guys at the last CFOA? Did Postal go to
We, as a group, we
the
did
Tin
not.
Man?
No, I think we had a couple of guys that went out and played it. I'm not sure exactly who that would have been, but I think we had a couple go out there. But as an organization, we did not.
Gotcha. Okay. So take us through. I think it's always beneficial when we're talking about organizations. How does it work? What's the kind of structure? Every team's a little different. There's not a right or wrong way, I feel like, as long as no one's getting ripped off. But do you guys do dues? Is it pay as you go?
So everything that we do, as far as our practice and the structure like that, there's no dues.
Okay.
As far as a price structure, we do a really good deal on paint. Currently it's $35 a case is what we're charging. It's we do team paint and it's $35 a case. Typically it would be if you come out, it's normally $10 for the air fee, and then $35 a case.
Okay.
Like, granted, that is for the team. If anyone other than that does come in, then at that point it does go to the 20 for air and then field, and then normally about $40 a case to come out.
Gotcha. That's still super cheap on the paint
Yeah,
side.
but and I think that's one of the other things too, and it's probably why we're seeing a lot of decline in some of these tournaments here lately. Is just the cost is astronomical from an aspect of just in general. And honestly, some of the guys on the team can't necessarily afford $50 cases for practice. So we just want to make sure that it is that the cost. Well, I want to make sure that the cost isn't the reason why people are getting practices in.
Gotcha. Well, you're doing a fair deal of it. I'll say that. There's a lot of people that would like
Yeah,
those
I mean,
prices.
there's like I said, there's no secret. We're not trying to, you know, make a ton of money here. I'm very transparent when it comes to the money that's coming in and the money that's went in. I mean, I think this year alone, I've dropped probably close to probably $6,000 to $7,000 into the field, and I can assure you, I've not come anywhere close to making that back. But at the same time, it's not the goal of making that back. It's just making sure that we have a place for if paintballers want to come out and play, we got a place for them. Because how else are we going to grow tournament paintball in this area other than having that spot available for them? And that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. So if someone that's not associated with the team does want to come out, maybe they've just moved into the area, maybe they're playing and they want to check out the tournament side, how do they go about finding it to come out?
So there's a couple different ways. We've actually named the field to Tiny Giant Paintball is what I'm going under. You can find us on Facebook. Send me a message through there if you're wanting to reach out, come out. Also, there's multiple different Facebook groups as far as like within just like East Tennessee paintball, stuff like that, that we're all pretty much, and what I mean by we is myself, a guy named Gary, Caleb, Ronnie, a bunch of those guys are pretty much admins of those groups, and they'll go ahead and get everybody over to us if they're wanting to come out and play.
Okay, cool. So just find you on Facebook and
Yep.
shoot a message.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're coming up on the last, which I think you said this, the last 3-man. We actually started a little 3-man series as well, and we've been
Okay,
kind of
nice.
rocking it. I think we had first event we had 8 teams come out. Second event we had 10, hoping to get around 15 teams at this next one. We're pretty much capping it around 15, but ultimately, I mean, just seeing the amount of people that's come out to these local events, especially a bunch of the older guys that come out to these events, has been incredible. And I did forget there is one team that went and played the NGXL that started playing our 3-man team. Forget their name. Tennessee Ambush, I think is what it is. And they
Okay.
went and played the 3-man NGXL this past event. Didn't do probably as well as they wanted to, but nonetheless, they're out there battling.
Yeah. Well, you gotta just jump in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Grab
Absolutely.
the experience. The wins will come as long as you're dedicated. So how has that been? Because you went from a team organization with a private field to a public field to a tournament series, a local tournament series, essentially.
So it's interesting because the SummerSlam series is not something brand new to this area. The alternative sport started this years and years ago. Like when I was, just a young lad, I was playing it all the time. But ultimately, it's just something that people in this area, everybody has played the SummerSlam event at some point in time. So just being able to bring that back is also bringing some nostalgia back into it. And then also, again, just making sure that people know that tournament paintball in this area is not dead. It may be pretty stagnant, but it's not dead. And then we're not going to let it die.
Nice. So how does someone go about signing up for the SummerSlam series?
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same way. You can reach out to us on through the Facebook, Tiny Giant Paintball. Also, there's an email, tinygiantpaintball@gmail. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us through there. And I'd be more than happy to get back to you as quickly as possible with all the information that you would need if you're looking to sign up for it. But you know, it's probably the easiest way to do it. I mean, just kind of some info there. I mean, additional our D4 Russell Postal guys are the ones that ref it. So we're not, we're not allowing those guys to jump in and, and play against everybody. And we're pretty much capping it to D4 and lower. We're not really interested in a bunch of D3 guys to come out or D2 guys to come out, even though there are in this area. But we're just keeping it to the lower end because, again, I don't want anyone to come into the experience and just getting absolutely, hammered trying to go through this tournament. Is this something we may look to expand to in the future? Absolutely. But, we need to get the overall series, bringing in more teams and knowing that we can handle it too.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you,
That's
like
smart.
running. I don't know if you ever ran your own event before, but
I have.
it's wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was not ready for it.
Yeah,
You
I
asked me
don't think anyone is.
asked me how the first SummerSlam went, and I'll tell you that I think it was an absolute disaster. But you asked the players, they said it was absolutely incredible. And so I guess that's a good split.
Yeah. Yeah. If the player/customer is happy and you aren't happy, that's okay. That means you're looking at the right things. If you're happy and they aren't happy, then there's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like, running it, the postal organization. We've learned a lot just from the 2 events that we ran. So hopefully going into this last one, which is the beginning of September, it'll be just easy peasy lemon squeezy moving forward.
So will there be a winter slam series or a fall or spring, or just got to
We're in
keep
the
it?
we're in the talks of that doing that because the first event was at my field, the second event was up at the alternative sport, it was West's field, and the last one's going to be back down here at my field. We're in the talks of also a possible another field also joining it, but I think we're waiting really for that other field to be open. If they are open in time, we'll definitely be adding them in going into next season, or at least that is the understanding that I have that we'll end up doing. But again, big shout out to Wes, at the alternative sport because none of this would be available without, his leadership and him helping us out in that. And I think, that's just a big thing too, is the collaboration between all of us, making sure that we have something good for the players in itself.
That's awesome to see fields come together to create something,
Yeah,
instead.
it's not always, I want to put them out of business because I want to take all their players, and he's definitely not doing the same on our end too. Because I think at the end of the day, we can definitely work together, because he's kind of more focused on the new player or getting that player from the rec side into the tournament side, and then we're obviously more focused on the tournament side. Because if anyone ever says, "Hey, I want to come out and try paintball," no, do not come to my field. My field's not for you, right? Unless you know what you're getting into. It's just go up, play at Wes's, and go up there with the rental guys, and you'll be fine.
All right. Man, you guys are doing so much. That's awesome. So but that series is not on APPA right
It
now,
is
or
not. It is not.
PB leagues. Okay. So how do you keep the higher echelon guys from sandbagging down into it, just from general knowledge of the group?
General knowledge, but then also when they go to register, I ask for all the PB league numbers. That way I can go in and verify it. If they don't have a PB league number, obviously then at that point they're considered D6. And so they're good to go. Now, granted, when we haven't had this, I don't think we will, but if anyone lies and is just being just straight up be lies to me about them not having any tournament experience, so we can definitely tell that's not the case, then obviously if that does happen, we'll ask them not to come back. But again, up to this point, everybody's been really cool about it. And so I don't think that'll be an issue.
No, that's awesome. Hopefully it won't be. There's
Well,
always
as long as
someone who
next
wants to try something.
season, yeah, doing the next season. I mean, we may turn it into a PB Leagues thing. We may not. I think the big thing that I didn't want to have happen, because I think, and I don't know how it works, but if you open it up to like D4 and under, don't they get D4 points for the PB Leagues?
So I've never ran a PB leagues event, but my understanding is you can talk to him and have it be just D5 points. I would have to look at Blitz or something where they're doing something unique like that. See if I can find it real quick.
I just didn't want, because some of these guys that's coming out to this is the first tournament. This is the first time they've ever seen airball, much less the first time they've ever played a tournament. So I didn't want them to get D4 points and then just screw up their overall rankings if they played more than one event.
Mm-hmm. And I cannot find a CFOA Blitz to save my life. There's 10-man. I don't even see the 7-man. Yeah, I don't know. If I come across it, I'll shoot you a message.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
But I do think he'll work with you. Obviously, there's his cut, which then has to be factored in. But I also feel like you guys can run it off the books, if you will. And if there's enough interest from guys that are upper D4 or above, and do a elite division or something.
Yeah, open division. And that's what we were talking into going into next season if we had the interest. Talking to some of the guys from the Knoxville area, there seems to be a lot of interest in doing something like that. So if we do, then we'll definitely have that availability, because the last time we had 12 teams, we had the event. We started at 9:00. The event was over by like 1. So we definitely we do have the ability to be able to run more teams and then possibly another division too as well if we really wanted to.
Okay.
Granted, I'll just have to make sure that my Postal guys are good to go in the reffing aspect. They can ref all that, because that's going to be a lot of time out on the field. But I think we all know what we're trying to do. That's the reason why they're good with reffing it now.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great way to create awareness for the organization and stuff. So
Absolutely.
I had it. So what companies is the Postal organization rocking with this year?
So jerseys, apparel, all that's all through under. We've been with Chris for a really, really long time. He's been phenomenal to us over the years. We did go out and kind of get a couple of other sponsors, which is Aries Athletics. He's a personal trainer that we got with the entire team that kind of got us going from a off-season workout plan. Because I'll tell you, last season, in these regional events, I'm sure you're aware, it's a lot of paintball to play in one day. You're looking at upwards of 8 matches possibly in one day, which is just an incredible amount of paintball. And we noticed that going to the latter part of the day, everybody's getting Everybody's getting winded, everybody's getting worn out. So we really wanted to make sure we focus on the athletic aspect of it, and Aries Athletics definitely helped us in that regard. And then um, Sneaky Panda Photography, she's been with us for a while, and Taylor's just great at what she does. Phenomenal photographer. That actually blows my mind. She's not as booked up as what she should be going into some of these NGXLs, but I think her work will definitely speak for itself.
Nice. And then obviously you're a flex guy, or is that for the pro shop?
No, this is all mine. It used to be a lot more,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, I had I had 70 masks at one point in time. Yeah, I was an idiot, man. When we were work from home, I had a lot of extra time to be able to browse the internet, browse Facebook, and buy everything. And all of that before was all a bunch of OG stuff. But all this now is like new and flex stuff. Because I wanted to get rid of the OG stuff just because that stuff has a shelf life.
Yeah.
I know that if you take care of it, it still doesn't matter. So it has a shelf life, and I didn't want me to get out there or one of like my little nephew or like my son to be like, "Hey, I want to wear that mask," and then get absolutely, you know, hurt because of some of it.
Yeah.
So all the masks that I have now are newer stuff, and that I would be okay with getting out and wearing.
Okay, cool. So take us through the Postal season so far.
So D4 first event, third place. I still kick myself going into the for to the semifinals because we should have won that, but it was pretty much something that I put on my own shoulders as far as the reason why we didn't. But nonetheless, finished third. Second event, second. Played an ODB team that was just absolutely on fire going into the finals, and we just didn't have anything for them. Third event, we did win. Just a great overall event for us. I think did have some close games. The semifinals, we had to come back from a 2-0 deficit. They came back and won it in overtime. Um, and then and then finally this past event didn't do as well as we wanted to, took fourth. And frankly, we didn't play like a fourth place team. I think there was a lot of things from my own end that I could have done better to get the team ready. But then also looking at the individual play, I think there was a lot of things that we just dropped the ball on from a communication standpoint, from a zone control standpoint, and a lot of different things in that regard. So we know how to fix it. We're definitely going to be getting back on the grindstone, so to speak, to make sure that we're ready going into the fifth event. But then our D5 team, man, talk about a roller coaster for that group. First event, like, keep in mind, this is the first tournament that some of these guys have ever played. They took third. The second event, they won. Third event, I think they took fifth, and then seventh this past event. Okay. This past event is a very similar story. Typically, our break shooting is normally on point. It wasn't for either line this past event. And then also zone controls and the communication. We just pretty much just dropped the ball. Now, going into the last two events, we did have some people with some issues, whether it be personal, family, life that happens throughout the event. And we did have to go out and add we had to have 5 new players going into the third event.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just those guys are starting to gel together because prior to that, we had 4 or 5 months of those guys playing together, getting to know how each other plays. Now it's just kind of a thrown together type deal. But the group is definitely gelling and starting to be at our overall team. Granted, the results doesn't show it, but just looking at how they are at practice, you can definitely tell it's coming together.
Awesome. Well, I mean, pretty good. Most people would call that a good year for both lines. You've won one. D4 has stayed in the top 4, so you haven't had a dud of an event, if you will.
Yeah, that's one thing we discussed at the very beginning of the year was just making sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to our goals and what we're wanting to be able to do. Mike and Mr. Gray talk about a lot on their podcast of making sure that you set the correct expectations going into your season. And what's the goal number one? Normally it'd be to win an event, but in reality, is that your goal? Not necessarily. Your first goal should be, let's win a point. Second goal, let's win 2 points. Third goal, let's win a match. Stuff like that. Our D4 team has been successful in the past, so we knew that going into this year, it wasn't going to be just win an event. Just win a point or win a 2. It was going to be consistently, in my opinion, in the top 2 for every event, and we've only been able to do that 2 out of the 4. Now, granted, again, I'm taking a lot of this on my own shoulders because I still have a lot of learning to do on my own end as a coach. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be also putting it out to the players too, because some of those guys know they should have done something a little different during each individual point. But again, that's all about the growing aspect. Is it important for us to go out and win in GXL? Absolutely. But is it important for the end result? Not necessarily. Because, going into next season, it's going to be looking at playing in XL, right? Or so what would you rather do? Win in GXL or win in XL? No hate to the NGXL, but I'd much rather have a big medal from the NXL guys. But the big point is that we're looking for the entire organization to be able to have a good understanding of what it means to go play good paintball, because that's what the goal is going to be. Winning is a side effect of that. So if we're going out playing good paintball, then at that point, we're on the right track.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're a good paintball team, you're going to win the majority of those matches in points, which will lead to placing high at events for sure. So are you player coaching now or just coaching?
I'm just coaching. I do look to play some going into next season. I have a lot of weight to lose to do that before I feel like I'm good to go on that aspect. But started that weight loss journey, and we'll see how it goes going into next season.
Awesome. So when did you decide to stop playing and just coach?
When I knew that me playing wouldn't be able to be an asset to the team.
Okay. So just a hard, honest conversation with
Yeah,
yourself.
I mean, it's just one of those things where I've always at the beginning of the season I'm like, yeah, let's go lift a bunch of weight and do all this, and then it just never happens. But ultimately, started that again. I will be re-ranked down to D5 going into next season, so we'll see how that goes if I do play. Ideally, I do plan on playing, but there's some other aspects of that too. Is going to be like, what does the schedule look like? What does NXL schedule look like compared to the regional stuff? And I know this is going to be kind of a sidebar here, but shout out to all the females out there that put up with us in our shenanigans of going out and playing all this, because you know I have a significant other, Amanda. She's absolutely an absolute rock star that is helping with our son as we're going out and doing all this. So it's just going to be a question of what's the balance going to look like there. Is it going to make sense for me to play as well as be able to coach an NXL series? Hopefully, but if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, gotta take care of the home front. They take care of
Absolutely.
you. Well, we'll start wrapping up a little bit, but what is one of the markers you've had that got away that you wish you could get back?
I got it back.
You got it back?
I got
Okay.
it back. I got it back. Actually, I have it here. Pink to black fade DMA.
Woo, nice.
I got it back. A guy that's been been part of the I mean, not postal, but has been a part of the paintball in this area for years. He ended up selling me that gun when, I mean, I think it was like 2010, 2012. I sold it, and it was just I instantly regretted it. But hey, I needed money. I wasn't, this during the many times that I quit paintball. And then I went back. I sold it on PB Nation. Had no idea where I bought it from. I mean, who I sold it to. And then a guy I seen a Pink Tobacco DMA come up online on Facebook, and I reached out and I was like, "What if?" Because there wasn't a lot of those that was made.
Yeah.
So I was like, "What if?" And I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, where'd you get that gun?" And he told me he got it off a guy off PB Nation. I was like, "Okay, what was that guy's name?" And told me. I went back to all my stuff. There it was. It was the same gun. So I got it in. I got it back. So that was like my one gun that got away. I was able to get back.
Nice.
And it's not for sale. Don't try.
A beauty.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple other guns that I've added to the collection that I still got to get anode. I was able to find a Trauma DM3. Yeah, I got a Trauma DM3, a completely, and I've sent some pictures aside because I don't have them here. I've got a custom milled body with a bunch of other stuff added to it. It's kind of looks like um an Ironman one with like one of the tubes completely cut off, one of the air tubes completely
Interesting.
cut off. Yeah, so I've never actually got that one put together to see if it even holds air, much less works. Then I also have an NYX that I need to get sent off to ANO. I've had those guns taken apart for like 4 years now. Still haven't done it. I probably still won't do it. Who knows? But I've probably got enough matrix parts to build 10 guns at this point.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you
like I
probably
said,
don't need help restoring them for the Matrix restoration,
I'll
guys.
probably honestly, I probably would be perfectly okay with shipping it out to that guy. I probably have all the parts and send it to him. Like, look, you know, do what you can with this thing, after we get back from Menno. But ultimately, it's just a question of time, and being able to
Yeah.
find the time to be able to do all that. And there's just not enough time in the day.
How many guns have you had anode?
Just one, even though it was a free flow, because I got a Trix. Yeah,
Nice.
like it's somewhere around here. But yeah, I got a Trix, and the reason why I got it, and kind of a funny, not really funny story, but a cool story. So when we found out that we were expecting, that's when they announced the Trix as what it was, and I was like, okay, I want that, because I bought the DLS, and once they realized that the Trix was coming, I was like, I want that over the DLS. So I sold the DLS to get
Okay.
the Trix, and you could have the gun anodized however you want.
Yeah.
I told I told her, I was like, well, whatever gender that's going to come out as, that's what we're going to have it anode. And so I was able to get blue and black acid wash.
Nice.
I have it here somewhere. I don't know where it is though. That's okay.
So
But yeah,
did you send off the results to the Anno people and not know until
no,
the
no,
gun
no.
came
I,
in?
I wish, I wish. No, we had a that'd actually been a lot cooler. Actually, no, probably not. I think the way we did was pretty cool too. So I'm also a pool player.
Okay.
Well, kind of, sort of. So we ended up doing one of those like gender reveals where there was a bunch of pool balls on the table, and you break into it, and it breaks into all the blue dust goes up, or pink dust, or whatever
Uh-huh.
it was. So we did a gender reveal that way,
Okay.
and then at that point, I was able to get with the free flow guys and get my gun anode the way that I wanted.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, hey, both of those would have been great. So, oh. Well, tell us about the jerseys in the background, man.
Absolutely. So, all right. So I'll start with the one that the Bianca one. So Mike is just an incredible guy in general. If you haven't had a chance to meet him, I definitely suggest that you do and have a conversation with him, because he is just an incredible individual in general. So he actually has been up to my field once before when he was coaching CEP when they were in D2. So I got to meet him there and just got to realize just how just great of a paintball mind that guy has. It's incredible. But once he got moved over to Dynasty, I knew that they would normally sell some jerseys that way. And I was like, hey, Mike, give me a jersey. And he was able to get me a jersey and got it signed. I also have a coach's show shirt underneath it signed by both of them, Ryan Gray and also Mike Bianca, because I've been to 2 of their clinics now learning.
Okay.
And then I got the trauma jersey here. And the funny story on that one, so I'm in the process of getting a rental fleet of guns for my field.
Mhm.
And I would go to Goodwill. They have a website that you can auction things on. And I know that there might be some people listening to this be like, no, don't spill the beans on the Goodwill deals. But I'm sorry, guys, here it is. So you could find, all sorts of paintball stuff on there for obviously pretty cheap, from a Goodwill perspective. And I got on there one day and just typed in paintball, and it said trauma. I was like, well, what is this? Clicked on it. It was that jersey already in a shadow box, ready to go, signed. And I pretty much told myself, I didn't tell her this, but I pretty much told myself, I don't care what this goes for. This is coming home to me. So I ended up putting a overall bid of like $400 on it. It ended up going for $180.
Okay.
So I was able to get that jersey, and it is signed by, I think, pretty much everyone on the team. I know you can't really see the signatures,
Yeah.
but it's pretty much signed by everyone on the team. That one's up there.
Nice. Well, that's a hell of a find.
Yeah, once I seen it, I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody about this. I'm not going to say a word to anybody, because I knew that if I said anything, because I mean, trauma has been one of those teams, especially for people in our area, man. Like, that's our team.
Yeah.
That was our pro team. So if I said anything to anyone, especially in this area, especially if I sent it over to possibly a guy named Aaron, he would have went on there and definitely overbid me on that one to get it. But I wasn't going to let it happen. So it took me, as soon as I got it, though, best believe I sent a picture out to everybody that I knew.
Yeah. You
Like, this
have
is mine,
to.
boys. Yeah.
And if you're a Southeast guy that started playing in the even early 2000s to like Trauma's just your team. I mean, they were the homeboys, and
I mean, that's why I was shot Matrix. That's why that's my first, I guess, legitimate tournament gun was a Diablo Matrix.
okay.
It's I was actually able to fully run a Halo hopper on it because I couldn't on the B2K, because B2K only has one detent, and a Halo
Yep.
will push right past that thing. And so I had to run the Eggy on it. I hated it, but it's all good. It's all good. It's part of the growing up process. But yeah, shooting those Matrix, man, like, love those guns. Just always still have.
Yeah. And I shoot a DSR to this day. And it's because of the Trauma guys, and well, the Dark Carnival guys were sponsored by Dye back in the day. So
I had it in here, but I guess I don't. I gotta get to show the tricks, but it's all good.
well, we're right there. We'll call it a wrap. Hopefully we can maybe catch up after Cup and do a little in cap on the season and maybe what the team has decided to do as far as next season for the D4, soon to be D3 guys. And good luck to you guys. Why don't you shout out the sponsors one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got, my field, Tiny John Paintball, the other field in the area, the Alternative Sport. And then we also have I think it's soon to be filled out in the Knoxville area called Battle Ends USA. Phenomenal organization, phenomenal fields, phenomenal stores. If you have anything within the East Tennessee area, like if you're ever in the East Tennessee area and need some paintball stuff, definitely hit up those guys. Going into as far as the individual sponsors for the team, we've got Sneaky Panda Photography, Forge Paintball. They pretty much do all of our head wraps. They do our, good Lord, I'm losing it. Anyway, they do all of our head wraps for that. They come out with some sick shirt designs too. Very new company, but you're just knocking it out of the park with some of the designs they're putting out there. And I think, Aries Athletics, big shout out to him, helping us out at the beginning of the season, making sure that all the guys are ready to go for a big full season of paintball. And I'm sure there's probably somebody I'm going to miss, and they're probably going to be very, very angry at me. And I apologize in advance if that's the case. But nonetheless, I think that's it.
Cool. Well, we will see you guys next time on the Planet Paintball podcast. Just hang on for a little bit and while we let it upload.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Shout out to 1023 Sportswear for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to use code Planet Paintball at checkout for 20% off your order. Gear up, save big. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball podcast